Hello and welcome to today's event. It is August 2nd, 2024, and today we are talking about Python. And the name of the event today is Python Not Included because we are going to be doing a task for the Oxygen Not Included wiki, and Python is not included with MediaWiki. You bring your own Python when you are writing stuff in Python. You do stuff hosted on your local machine, on VPS, somewhere else other than the wiki itself. So I thought it was a fun title because Python literally isn't included, but it's very useful. And I have never played Oxygen Not Included, but I assume that Oxygen is important in the game ONI. I that may be wrong. I don't actually know. So the structure of today is going to be that I have this page open on our sandbox wiki over here. And then I've copied a couple pages from the ONI wiki. You can see it in the recent changes here. So I've copied these pages over, and if you look at them on the sandbox wiki, there's nothing here. All of the templates are missing, but that's fine because all I need is for there to be a backlink to version template, even if, or I guess info box building is what I'm going to be editing. Even if the template doesn't exist, you can still experiment with it. And when you are first starting out with editing stuff in Python like this, I highly recommend copying your stuff over to a sandbox wiki, editing it on a sandbox wiki, make sure it's working on the sandbox wiki, and then let it run on your actual wiki. Other strategies include logging every single page that you edit and watching the log go and checking in recent changes and making sure that the changes look right, limiting yourself to like maybe 5 edits, make sure it's good before just letting it run unsupervised. The more comfortable that you get, the less overhead of extra testing you're going to have like this. But when you're starting out, you're really going to want to be very aggressive in the amount of sandboxing and testing that you do before you let a script run wild on your wiki. I'm going to be using PyCharm. I have this is the new project window in PyCharm. We're starting totally from scratch. And so I'm just going to make a completely new project here. I will call it, I'll call it Python not included. Um, this new environment using virtual env thing, you don't have to worry about this. You can just use the default for it. The base interpreter, if you have multiple versions of Python installed, you're going to want to make sure that this is the correct version that you have. I have a couple here that are from some other work that I did that I made globally available so that I could reshare the same venv, but don't worry about it. I'm not going to inherit any global site packages. I have some globally installed packages. I'm not going to inherit them right now because I want to show a setup from start, but you can click this if you want. And so I'm using Python, and here there's other versions of Python that I have, but I'm not using that. So anyway, TLDR on this screen, you just set the path that you want here, and then you say, and I don't want a main.py welcome script. That sounds annoying. And it just opened on a different monitor because it's like that, and I'm gonna have to bring it over to the other monitor. Okay, there we go. So Python not included, we have this venv library root. So the thing about PyCharm is that a lot of the default hotkeys are very unintuitive, and so if you're using PyCharm for the first time, you might want to like do things more in the menu instead of using hotkeys, because I don't think Control N is the default for new. So I'm just going to do it with menus so that you can see what's going on. I'm going to type main.py. You just type main, and then it makes a Python file. And so you have main.py over here. And can everyone see, like, if I write like print hello world, can you see this, or should I figure out how to make the font bigger? I don't know how to make the font bigger. Font size. Font. Okay, so let's make this 18. Whoa, not 37. Okay, we're gonna make this 18.0, and this should hopefully be that seems exactly the same. Okay, someone says it looks good in chat, so this officially looks good. So this is what we're gonna do. So then the next thing that I'm gonna do is so the library that I'm using is a library that I wrote called mwcleric. It has a fantastic backronym, and if you go to the GitHub repo, then you get some documentation. And so I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna be like aggressively showing how to do things for the first time. So yes, I have this command memorized, but if you don't have the command memorized, this is what you do. You go to the project URL, and then you get the command. Like most projects will tell you how to install them. So I'm going to paste here. So this is a little terminal. This is what I opened, is over here. That has a hotkey for it, but you can also click. It has like a little prompt plus a underscore for the cursor. So I'm going to install mwcleric, and it's going to do its thing, and it will eventually install. And while it's doing that, I'm going to tab back to my browser, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I am going to find this copyable code here. Okay. And I want to make a template modifier. So this is a template modifier. So I want to copy, I'll use this button. And then I'm going to paste it in here. So mwcleric comes, oh my God, it's like, that has tabs, I think. I'm gonna have to change that to spaces. So this is the copyable code for opening for creating like a generic wiki client, but there's a special client for WikiGG. So I want to open or I want to import a WikiGG client here. So I'm going to go ahead and import, whoops, from mwcleric import WikiGG client. So the change that I've made is that I'm working with a WikiGG client instead of a wiki client. And okay, so the example is still Wikipedia. So I'm going to say that the site that I want to work on is the GG wiki. I'll fix the copyable code a little bit. So the wiki is the GG wiki, and then the credentials are my author credentials. So I have this file that's already saved on my computer called me, but I'm just going to demonstrate quickly what will happen if you don't have this yet. So I'm going to call it like fake new profile. And then I'm going to run this file, and this is just going to crash immediately as soon as it tries to log in, because I'm going to put fake credentials in here. So I'm just going to run this, and nothing's really going to happen, but I'm going to show you how the prompt works. So since this is a new profile, when it runs, you'll get prompted over here, and so you say your username. So my username is Wrangled River. Then the bot password name is going to be something like Python, or we'll call it mwcleric. Okay, because I'm using this token for the mwcleric library. So at special bot passwords, you would name the token mwcleric. And then this is secret, okay? Your bot password is going to be the secret token that you've made. So I'm just going to type a bunch of key spam. This is not a real token, but you would copy paste this from the bot passwords page. If the wiki is in onboarding, then it is locked behind a password. If it's not, then it's not. So you can say yes or no accordingly. So just to show you the workflow, I'm going to say yes. So then what is the username here? And I'm going to say admin, which may or may not be correct. And then I'm going to say for the password hunter2, which I can tell you our password is not hunter2. But all you see is stars. So I've now created this, and it says, oh, incorrect username or password entered, because obviously I just gave fake information here. But that shows you the workflow that's going to happen. And if you put the correct information in all of these fields, then you will be able to log into the wiki. So I'm going to change this back to me. And for now, I'm going to just, I'm going to comment all of this out. And then I'm going to say site.save title user Wrangled River /test, and I'm going to save it with the contents hello world. And then I'm going to run this. Okay, so we're going to go over here, refresh the recent changes, and I've now saved this page. Okay, so that is like the most basic script possible to save a page. Site.saveTitle. So there's mwclient. So mwcleric is built on a library called mwclient. They're named very similarly. That's kind of deliberate because I wanted to backronym something that sounded like client. So I said cleric. So save title is part of mwcleric. There's also save page. And in this case, you could do site.client.pages. Whoops. And then I'll do test 2. And why is it unhappy? It's unhappy. Oh, because it's just called save. Okay. So by default, it takes a page. So let me run this again. And we are going to wait for it to do its thing. And then we'll go to recent changes. And then we have test 2, which saved with the same content. Okay, so you have these two options of save or save title, depending on what you want to do. And this is part of, again, this is part of my mwcleric wrapper. Methods, site.client, okay, is an mwclient object. So anything, so if I just type here like site dot, so I get all of these, messages popping up for autocomplete. And these are all things that I implemented in mwcleric. But if I write client here, then you get all of the mwclient methods exposed directly. So that's why we can say site.client.pages, because pages is built into mwclient. We could get all the, so let's print this. So I'm going to comment this out now. And it's still going to need to do a network call, but then we get this list of all of the namespaces. And again, that's something that's built into mwclient. So when you're using this library, there's a mixture of using some functionality from mwclient and some functionality from mwcleric. It's not the greatest situation, but mwclient was pretty unmaintained for a while, and so there's a bunch of extra stuff that I wanted to be able to do, and the library was unmaintained, so I wrote this wrapper. Now the library is being maintained again, and it's aiming for an 0.11 release relatively soon, but I'm still using this wrapper for most stuff. And that also allows me to have a bunch of WikiGG specific stuff. For example, the support for the onboarding wikis that it'll automatically do. So, okay. So does anyone have any questions so far? Is there anything that you want me to go over again? Do another page? Is there like something in Python that you like particularly want to do that we didn't talk about? I should really be like, okay, you know what I'm going to do is get init. It's, this is not important. Oh, it won't. God damn it. Okay, so I'm going to, what is going on? Okay, so in git ignore, I want to ignore idea star, get status, get and okay, so what I'm gonna do is every time I like make changes to this okay, and then let's get commit. This is oh, I didn't want this commented. Okay. Example to save one page. Okay, so basically every time I like do something, I'm gonna save a new commit so that you'll be able to look through the commit history of a GitHub repo later on and have access to the code. If you didn't follow any of that Git stuff that I just did, don't worry about it. It's not important. That's just me doing a little bit of tooling so that it'll be a nicer experience when the class is over, and you'll be able to like copy paste the code and stuff from GitHub. Okay, so we're now going to do the template. We're going to do something with the template modifier class. So I'm going to use this info box building template. Okay. And remember, I'm on the GG wiki, so I'm not editing ONI right now. I'm editing this gg.wiki.gg, and I'm gonna say template.add new param hello world, and you can see it helpfully like pops up with the name of the parameters that you're, or the name of the arguments that you're giving it. So you have the name is the new parameter and the value is hello world. And I'm just going to do this to show you what template modifier does. Okay, so I'm going to run this. Okay, so question in chat. The user file mwcleric uses is also created by it, and it's for storing credentials for more wikis. Yes, so mwcleric will manage all of your credential files for you. Anytime you put a new key here that it doesn't recognize before, it'll prompt you through creating or like adding all of the parts of the credentials that you have. So you can have as many different credential files as you want, and it'll save it to the local disk and it'll persist on your computer. It's not encrypted, so you will be saving credentials in plain text. So don't do this on like a public computer, for example. Do it on your own private machine. And it saves a little JSON file in your user config, and then it can access it at any time in the future. And you can create as many different profiles as you want. So I like to have one that's me and then one that's my bot. And my bot has different names on different wiki farms, but when I want to do bot edits, I'll change it to be editing as my bot instead of editing as me. So let's look at recent changes again. So I want to see just the most recent diff, and I didn't change the summary, so it just says bot edit. So we have this new param equals hello world, and it pretty magically imitates the white space surrounding it. I say magically both is a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes it's a little bit unexpected the way that it mirrors white space, but it'll try and make your page still be consistent. So since the ONI wiki has a space between the pipe and the parameter name, it also does that. So, I mean, this looks like it was added by a human, except for that it's random. So I'm going to show one other thing. So let's add a param called other new param, and the value is going to be goodbye world. And then I'm going to say I'm going to put it in between overheat and decor. So I'm going to say before equals decor. So let's run that again. And we'll wait for it to be done. Okay. And so if I refresh this, so then we have this other new parameter called goodbye world in between overheat and decor. So let me get example saving a param or adding a param. Okay. So this snapshot will be added to the project history when I push to GitHub. So I am now going to talk a little bit about the task that we actually want to do. Okay, so this page is an example of how we want it to look. Okay, so we have this materials parameter that's a list of plastic, steel, ceramic, and this amounts parameter that's 2,500, 500, 2,500, 5,000, 2,500. Okay, and so I'm going to go back to recent changes. I need the other pages open. So airflow tile and blank canvas. So over here, we have, this seems to be correct, but I want to make it not correct. So over here, we have a legacy version of the page that I have just very carefully created. So if we have one material and one amount, we want to rename it to materials and amounts. So what we're trying to do is have every every page look like this, where we have a parameter called materials, and it's a list of strings, and a parameter called amounts, and it's a list of integers. So that's the goal, is materials and amounts should be the new parameters, and both of them should be lists of integers. So there's two possible original states that we can have. The first one is that we have a parameter called material and a parameter called amount, and in this case we would just have to rename them. In this case, though, we could also have like, so I want to just show, I want more test cases, okay? So I'm like artificially making another page that's going to have another test case so that we can make sure everything's going on right. So I'm going to have material chew equals metal, also metal ore, and then amount chew is going to equal 500. So we're on a sandbox wiki. We can do whatever we want. We can add a test case. So in this case, the test case, I lost my page. Okay, so in the Aeroflow tile page, the test case is we want to just add s's to these parameters, right? We have metal ore. We want it to be metal. We want it to be materials as metal ore, and amounts is 100, and then it's two lists of one item each. In this one, we have the material and amount, and then we have material chew and amount chew, and we're going to want to make metal ore comma also metal ore, and we're going to want to make 100 comma 500. And then in the blank canvas one, it's instead of being material, it's material one, amount one. So then we're going to want to do the same thing where we have metal ore comma fiber, and we have 400 comma 1. So, and then the final thing is that this page should not be edited because this page is correct. So this is like a negative control. We want to make sure that we don't touch this page, and we want to make sure that we fix these 3 pages all the way that they're supposed to be fixed. Okay? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a helper function that's going to return the things that I want, and then I'm going to save it on the page, and then I'll write the code that generates the things that we want later. So first of all, I'm going to write get materials template, and then I'm going to have it return an empty string. And this will probably be a static method. Well, yeah. Static method means that you don't put the self here. You know what? That's too complicated. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to ignore this green underline here. That's not important. And then I'm going to write another function called def get amounts, and that'll be. And then I'm going to return an empty string here also. Okay. And then the thing that I want to do in the wiki is I want to template dot add materials self dot get materials template, and then I'm going to want to add template amounts get amounts template. Oops, and I'm missing a close parenthesis here. Okay, so we haven't actually like done anything yet, right? So we're still going to have to do the things. We still have to write all of the code that does things, but this is what we want to have happen if we pretended that we had these parameters existing. And we're also going to have to delete some old parameters, but let's worry about that a bit later. Okay. So if template, and I'm using some syntax from mwparserfromhell, but I don't really want to do that without showing you the documentation. So let me see if I can open the mwparserfromhell docs real quick. And if not, then okay. Sorry, I'm on another monitor for just 1 second. API reference. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a documentation for mwparserfromhell, and I tried to zoom in a bit. So we want to find template, and we don't want filter templates. Okay, we want the template module. Okay, so well, and if you look over here, so this page, let me paste this into chat. this page is like where you want to go to learn about how to use mwparser from Helm. And that's the actual name of. It's actually called mwparser from Helm. Yeah. Okay. So this reference page tells you all of the methods that the template class has. And there's a bunch of other stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in this library. The template modifier class that like this template modifier is going to be doing a lot of stuff for you in the background. And if you're in PyCharm, you can, I think the hotkey is Control B, where you can, wait, oh, it probably wants me to go to the import. There we go. Oh, I want to press on here. Okay. Yeah. So you can navigate through, I believe it's Control B by default. And you can see where template modifier is being implemented. You definitely like don't need to know this, but you might like find it interesting to look at. And I believe it has a filter template. Yeah. So here we have the filter templates method that we saw. If I do filter, yeah. So there's a bunch of things that you can filter by. Like there's a lot of things you can filter by. And so filter templates is one of them that happens in the background for you. So mwcleric takes care of a lot of it for you. So we're using mwparser from Hell methods, but we just get for free, we get this template object that we can start working on. Okay, so the important thing is to look at the template class here because that's what we're getting. And how do we know that we're getting a template? Because there's this type annotation here where it has template. And you can also jump to the code here in the import if you want to read the source code and see what happens. You might not want to read the source code, but the properties are like the important part where you have like you have the name and you have this method called has, and we're going to use has. So you can look in the code there. You can also look here. If you click it, you can get to an entire documentation page, which will tell you more about the function. But if you're just trying to like get a refresher about like what methods are there, you can look here. Another option for figuring out what methods that there are is just to type. So template here has this type annotation of template. So if I write a dot, then the IDE knows all of the methods that are available on template, and so you can click here, and if you double click, it'll give it to you, and then it gives you this like this little pop up. Okay, so right now, what I want to do is if I feel like I'm kind of doing this a little backwards, but I really want to make it as modular as I can. So if not template dot has material and not template dot has material one, then I'm going to return an empty string because I don't want to if there's no material and there's no materials one, then there is not going to be any there's not going to be anything. So like I'm assuming that it's well formed and that material or material one has to be there in order for material two to be there. Okay, so now after this block of code, we can assume that material or material one exists. Okay, and I'm also going to assume that you can't have both material and material one because that's also an invalid starting state. But what you could say, or so the next thing we could say is like if template dot has material and template dot has material one, then I'm going to raise a value error because we don't expect this to ever happen. Okay, so that's like something super invalid. And if it happens, I want to crash on that page. So it's a good idea to validate assumptions that you're making. Sometimes you know your wiki well enough, like you're familiar enough with the wiki that you don't have to do all of this extra validation, but we'll set a good example and we'll do that. Okay, so then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say I gets 1. And I is going to be our little iterator. And I'm going to say materials. Um, and I'm going to put one thing here, which is, well, we'll start at 2. Okay. And then so I'm making this list of materials. And the list of materials is going to start out with template.get material.value.strip. So this is like a thing that you write out a lot. You write template.get parameter name.value.strip. And this is if template.has material, else it's going to be template.get material1.value.strip. Okay, this is called a ternary operator. So the value here is going to be template.get material.value.strip, but only if material actually exists in the template. Otherwise, it's going to be material1.value.strip. Okay, so it's going to be either this term or it's going to be this term, and then what decides which one it is this if template.has material. So ternaries in Python read a lot like English. It's A if B, else C. So you check if B is true, and if it's true, then you give A, and if it's not true, then you give C. Quick poll is just what I'm doing seem okay and it like more or less makes sense, or is this like way too complicated and you want something like much more basic than this? Because if you want something much more basic than this, I can put this on hold and do a bit of an easier thing first. But if this seems okay, then we'll keep going. So I am seems okay to me. All right, fantastic. Okay, so we're starting out at 2 because we handled the case of material 1 and this like very special case way because we don't know if it's material or material 1, right? So if we knew it was material 1, this would be much easier. And in fact, if you're having trouble with like doing all of this extra special casing about material 1, it would be totally fine to start out by so something that we could do is we could start out and we could say if template has material, material gets template.get material dot value dot strip. Okay, and then we can say template dot remove material, and then we can say template dot add, well we'll add material 1 before equals material. And then we'll remove material afterwards. Why isn't it happy? Oh, because I didn't. So in this case, we're modifying the template ahead of time. So if the template has material, then we're going to remove material, and we're going to insist on material 1 being here. Okay. This might actually be a bit of an easier way to do it. So maybe we'll go ahead and do it this way. Because yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit easier if we can assume that it's the 1. Because here I'm doing a bunch of special casing, and I mean it's not like super complicated, but I just want to keep it a little bit simpler. So we're gonna ditch most of this, and we're gonna do it this way instead. I think this is gonna be a little bit easier to follow. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for amount, and I'm gonna say amount. So I'm gonna oh wait, I don't want to do that. Okay, I just want to refactor that in scope, and this is going to be amount 1 before it is amount, and then template.remove amount. So there's no material here anymore. So okay, so now we can assume that once we've done this construction, we can assume that the template either has material 1 present or there's no material at all. And we can assume that it either has amount present or there's no material at all. So then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say if template has material one, because remember, material is not possible anymore. It has to be material one. Then I want to add this, and I'm going to put before equals material one, and then I'm going to template dot remove material one, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. Whoops. What is it not happy about? Oh, I didn't put. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm doing some code duplication because it sucks to type a lot. So there's a hotkey. I don't know what the default hotkey is, but I bind it to Control Shift D. And then that duplicates a line of code. So you can just like duplicate a bunch of code. And then there's a lot of fun hotkeys that you can do. Maybe someday I'll like do a class just on hotkeys in PyCharm. Okay, so remember we're ignoring this warning about how it may be static. Don't worry about this. If you want to know about this, I'll just show you real quick. This is what it wants you to do. If it's a static method, it wants you to say that it's a static method. This is incredibly unimportant. You don't have to say that it's a static method. You can just have self-cure and not be like you can disable this code inspection even if you want. Like yeah, so you can like adjust the code style settings and then not have it say anything about that. Okay, so we're now ensuring that we call get materials only if material one is present. Okay, so we can assume that material one exists because if it doesn't, then we're not even going to call this method. Okay, so I'm answering a question from chat. We assumed that material and material one can't both be present, and I think that will hold, but now we don't throw in that case. What will template.add do if the param is already present? Okay, that's true. I should probably have a case here. So template.add will overwrite the other value. So right now what we're doing is we're making material overwrite material one if material exists, but you're absolutely right that we should still be doing a check and throwing an error. So if template has material and template has material one, raise value error, and then, oh, I spelled raise wrong. I'm going to do, I want amount. Okay, so before we do anything, we'll check and we'll raise this error. So yeah, so add will always overwrite the parameter if it was already there. So it'll take the old value, it'll remove the old value, it'll add the new value. So yeah, good call that we should be checking this because we would be defaulting to material and amount instead of material one and amount one if they were both present. So we're now going to get the materials and we want to, so we're going to start out with a list and then we're going to return, how should it should be comma separated, right? I think you want it comma separated, is that right? Where is it? Oh, it was in monument, right? Oh yeah, comma separated. Okay. So I think it's really cute how Python does joining or like concatenating lists. You put the separator first and then you write dot join and then you write the name of the list. So this will be an empty string right now because it's just like an empty list and we're not adding anything to it. So we're now going to add stuff to it and we're going to say I gets one. Usually things are 0 indexed in Python, but we're 1 indexing it. So I'm going to say while template.has, and then this might seem a little tricksy to you, so I'm going to explain it. Materials append template.get. Oh, Python is like and then I'm going to do I plus equals 1. Okay, so there's a small problem here, and I'll explain the problem in a sec. But um, so we're starting out I at 1, and then this right here, we're concatenating material plus the string value of I. So when I is 1, we're checking if the template has material 1. When and then we're going to append. So in JavaScript it's push, in Python it's append. I always get them backwards and I type the wrong one in the wrong language, but the ID will say you should get it wrong. So we're adding a new element to this materials array, which is, and you know what, I want to split this out just to make it a little cleaner. I'm going to say material, and then I'm going to say material. Okay, so it's totally fine to write this in one line. The only reason I'm splitting this out like this is that I just want it to be like very easy to read, because this is like a tutorial class. So I'm putting this on. I'm splitting this out onto 2 lines. But normally when I'm writing code, I would just put this on a single line. And you do whatever you're comfortable with. It's totally fine. There's not. I mean, okay, Python has a lot of strict formatting rules, but something like this is you do whatever is comfortable. So I'm gonna grab the material for this value of I, right? So I'm repeating this material plus string of I. There's a cute way that you can define. You can use something called a walrus operator to make this a little bit easier so that you don't have to repeat the definition of material plus string of I. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to complicate the syntax. But if you're interested in that, the thing to search for is walrus operator. Okay, I'll just show it really quickly. I'm going to call it key, and I'm going to write key. So that's how you do it. And you have to, you can assign something inside of a clause like this, and then key will have this value. You always have to remember to put the thing in parentheses, or you're going to get weird errors all the time. So, but I'm not going to do that because, again, I don't want to confuse people with syntax. So we're reconstructing this key, and this is what we're getting inside of the template, and then we're going to get the value, and then we're going to strip it because mwparserfromhell parameters always come with their white space attached to it. So then you have to do .value.strip. And then we're going to append that to the materials list, and then we're going to return the string that we're going to update over here. So there's a problem. The problem is that over here, when we're removing the amount and we're removing the material, over here we remove material 1, but we're actually, if there's like materials 2 through 17, we're not actually removing the 2 through 17. So what I'm going to do is I don't like the idea of modifying the template inside of a function called get materials. Like that just seems not fantastic. Okay. So what I'm going to say is I'm just going to like move all of this logic to the function over here. So I'm going to say materials, that's this, and then so I want to add materials, and then I'm going to do self dot update materials template. And I'm going to rename this function to update materials. Okay. So, and then this, what we want to have is we want to have it be over here. And then this is going to be material plus string of I. So there's one tiny little problem, which is that we were adding this before material 1, and we want to keep the things in the right order. So I'm going to do something that's, again, a little bit tricksy. I'm going to say template.add materials. And I'm going to put an empty string here, and I'm going to say before equals material 1. Okay, so this will initialize a parameter called materials inside of the template. And I'm going to write a comment here because this is a little weird. Make sure that materials is ordered correctly. And in this case, we're putting it before material 1 so that it stays in the correct order. because we will delete all of the previous params as we go. Okay, so we don't need a before here anymore because we have now placed the template in, like, here is where we place the template in the info box, and or here's where we place the parameter in the info box, and then it'll keep its same position here. So Gello was asking before, like, what happens if the parameter already exists? So that's what we're doing here. We're making sure that the parameter already exists. Over here, we still have material 1 in the list of parameters. And so we can place materials before material 1, and then we'll end up deleting material 1 here when I is 1, and then we'll keep going until it doesn't exist anymore, and we will remove everything. And now that this is called update materials, right, I don't want to modify the template in something called get amounts or get materials, but we changed it so that we're updating materials here. For now, I'm going to comment out the amounts part because I've written a lot of code and I haven't run anything yet. So I want to run this on the GG wiki, on the sandbox wiki, and I want to see what happens. So it's possible I have a mistake here. So we'll see. So I'm going to press the little play button here, and we'll see what happens. So it's saving play to blank canvas, airflow tile, monument. It skipped monument mid section, so that's a good sign. And then it's saving airflow tile too. So let us. I'm going to close all of my tabs and I'm going to open recent changes. So I want to check the most recent diffs. Sometimes it's a little annoying when you view combined diffs. Okay, so what did it do? So yeah, so we didn't really edit amount 1. Well, we started editing amount 1, but we didn't do all of the stuff with amount 1. I didn't comment out the entire amount 1 stuff. So amount 1 is a little bit messed up, right? But it successfully deleted material 2, and it renamed material to materials, and then we have metal ore, comma, also metal ore. And then there's a little bit of extra white space because mwparserfromhell is just going to fuck up the white space a little bit. It's just a thing that happens. Again, we didn't finish implementing amount, so, and I'm going to undo this because I'm going to want to, like, I'm going to want to edit again when it's actually doing amount. So over here, what is a diff? We have materials is metal ore. There was only one material here previously, so that looks good. So I'm going to undo it again just because I want to run it again, but we would normally keep it. So then we have metal ore over here, and then and this was an example with 1 and 2, right? Because before we had material without 1 was metal ore, and this time material 1 is metal ore and material 2 is fiber, and it has successfully listified this as materials. Cool. I'm slightly surprised that worked on my first try. Usually something is wrong on the first try, but I guess what was wrong was that I hadn't finished coding it. So I'm going to write the amounts, the update amounts function now, and this is like now the wrong thing, but anyway, here instead we're going to run self.update amounts template. Oh, I commented this, so it's like that doesn't exist. Okay. Oh, and I didn't. Okay, here we go. all right. So this is like going to be almost exactly the same, and normally I would copy paste, and I might even do like a find replace of material to amount because it's like literally the exact same code. But yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do a quick find and replace here. I'm going to do material amount. I like doing find replaces in other windows, so I did this in Notepad++ just now, and then I'm copying it here. I don't like using the so you can do like what is it, Control Shift F, I think, or no, Control H. Yeah, so you can bring up Control H to do a find and replace. But I just get very nervous that I'm not going to do the selection right. Like, so you can do it here. Right, so if I select this and then I say Control H, then it's gonna like default to doing it right because it's search in selection now. So it'll do it in the selection, and it's honestly safe to do. I just feel so nervous about doing a find and replace in my actual code editor that I copy paste to another window and I do it in the other window. I I do not like doing a find replace here. So let me run this again. And this time everything should just totally work as we want it to. So that's like the hope. So saving blank canvas, we should skip monument midsection, and then we saved airflow tile 2. Okay, so let's close these tabs again and refresh again. And then we're gonna look at this one, and we're gonna look at this one, and we're gonna look at this one. Sometimes I just like switch between editing as myself and editing as my bot, because like it just gets like there's so many changes, and I'm like, I want to be able to roll back like a single edit. So I'll like do a test as myself, and then I'll do a test as my bot. And each time there's only like one revision from one user, so then I can roll back. Well, except all the rollbacks are as me. So if you're rolling back, then you like always edit in Python as your bot. Anyway, so materials is metal ore, also metal ore, and then we have this amount is 100 and 500. So that looks like it took amount and amount 2. And then I believe blank canvas is the one that has material 1. Yeah, so we can like look between blank canvas and airflow tile, and in both cases we get roughly the same thing, where there are some different values that were used, but we have like the commas here. And over here we have material and then material 2. Over here we have material 1 and material 2, and we have amount 1 and amount 2, and we had amount and amount 2 here. And then this was just changing to the multiple entries in the list, and it's moving some white space around, but you know, it does that. So okay, so I want to do. So I'm gonna do a commit now. Working replacements. So, and then I do want to undo these again, because I'm going to run it one more time. Undo. Okay, and then I'm going to go back here. And so, okay, so we noticed, what did we notice here? We noticed that I literally did a find replace for materials and amounts. So the question is, like, these two things are handled exactly identically. Could I possibly write a little bit less code here? So ideally, what I would like to do, I would like to make a new function here called updateParam, where I have template and then I write material. And then I'd like to have another param here. I would like to do the same thing, where I say updateParam and then I write amount. Okay. And then I would like to use some variable when I'm like doing all of the stuff. So I'm going to write update param template, and then I'm going to call it kind. I like using kind often. Like type is usually a reserved keyword. I just like using kind for like when I have to. I mean, I could say like param name or something. I think kind is a great generic classification term. So I'm going to say items, because I'm no longer looking at a list of materials. I'm looking at a list of generic items. Then I gets 1 again, and then I'm gonna copy paste this and move it up because I want to keep the comment. So I'm also going to I'm gonna say plural equals kind plus s. So this is gonna be materials and amounts, and this is just to avoid a little bit of writing. So I'm gonna add the plural version, and I want the before to be kind plus 1. Okay, so this is going to be materials, and this is going to be material 1, or it's going to be amounts and amount 1. And this works only because we are using English, and none of the kinds end in a vowel. If it ended in a vowel, we'd have to do some hard coding, and we might write like if we have what I need a verb that ends in a vowel and changes to is. Well, okay, so if we had like kitty and we wanted to change it to kitties, okay, then we might have kind and plural kind as separate parameters here, because it's not possible to simply add with an s. Okay, so that would probably be a little bit of a more generic and safer way to do it, would be to specify both the singular and the plural here, and then send both the singular and the plural to this update param function. But I'm being a little lazy. I'm just going to do kind plus s, and I'm going to define it here, and I'm going to hard code it that it has an s, because we're only doing these two things, and I don't want to do like the extra optimization that we don't have to do. So this will be materials, and then material 1, amount, and then amount 1. So then I'm going to do some more copy pasting because I am quite lazy. So instead of material, then we want this to be kind. And pretty much anytime we have the string material, we're going to write kind instead. And then this is going to be plural. Okay, and then we don't have materials. We have items and items, and this is, oh, I was like reassigning. That's not good. This I should have called this like materials string or something, or materials text. Because I was reassigning that variable. That's not cool. That's lame. Don't do that. This should have been materials text. So I'm going to rename this to text, and then I'm going to save the text here. And then I have the material here, and so I'm going to write value. So this is now pretty generic. I think it's good. So I'm going to delete all of this now, and we did a commit before, so it's fine. I'll get it back if we need to. So okay, I think this looks right, and we're calling update. Okay, so let's run this again. Let's see what happens if I made any mistakes. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. Well, as I said before, hopefully I do make a mistake at some point so that I can show you how to debug stuff, because that'd be fun. So did it finish? That is a manual revert. Oh, it's a manual revert because it's similar to previous text. Yeah, okay. So this manual revert, saying this is a good sign, because that means that the text here is exactly identical to a previous revision, and the MediaWiki software detected that. So, and again, we're not editing monument, like this is good. We don't want to be touching. If we were editing monument midsection, then we would have a problem. So this is, it has the materials here, it has the amounts here, it has materials here, it has the amounts, and it has materials, and it has the amounts. So this is pretty good. We did good. So I'm gonna git commit. What do I want to say? I'm gonna say use update param function. Okay. So at this point, I'd be pretty comfortable to run this on the ONI wiki now. I don't really necessarily want to run on the ONI wiki while I'm streaming, but this is pretty much looks like it's gonna work. So one of the things is that we probably want a better summary. So we could say like updating parameters to current standard. Amounts. So I would say something like this. Depends on what kind of summary you want to do. If you're really lazy, just leaving it say bot edit is kind of fine. But you should put a summary. Put a summary. So I like to use backticks to indicate like literal strings, even if I don't have, even if Markdown isn't going to render. It's kind of just like a signifier that this is the literal text materials and the literal text amounts. So the script is more or less working. Does it make sense? Does anyone have any questions? Do you think that you could replicate this yourself now? Okay, maybe not the last one, but if you saw this in a repo, do you think that you could, like, more or less modify it to be useful for your own use case? Do you want me to go over a simpler example? Well, we did a couple simple examples at the very start, but um, the the important thing is that we have this template modifier class, and this is really what I would call a framework more than a library, because it's very opinionated about how you do things, and it does a lot of like magic in the background for you, and then you work within its constraints to do a little bit of stuff. So to me, this is more of a like template modifier is more of a framework, but um, yeah, it has helper functions for you. So template modifier makes it relatively easy to do this kind of change where most of the let me fix formatting. Okay, most of the changes that we have here is like very much like housekeeping and checking for stuff, right? Like if it's invalid, we don't want to do something. This is like preparing to edit. So this is like a lot of boilerplate for preparing to edit. And we could even like we could probably pull this logic into the individual functions, setting material and amount, iterating over the two. If you have two template modifiers, will they edit pages with both templates twice, or can it group the edits somehow? Okay, so if you want to edit two templates, you should do two separate scripts to run through the wiki. Template modifier will modify one template. So the other option that we can do is that so there's another class that you can use called page modifier. And if I don't have my GitHub open still. Okay, so here. Okay, so yeah, so we have this page modifier class. And if you have inside of page modifier, so let me make a new, I'm gonna call it, what? Page modifier. Okay, I'm almost certainly going to mess something up at this point. So let me revert all of the changes here again. So I want to undo this. I want to undo this, and I want to undo this. Okay. So, we're going to update the wiki text here, and we need to specify a list of pages here. So I'm going to say site.client. What is it? Hold on. I need to check. No, I want template modifier base. I just don't remember. What? Oh, yeah, right. Okay, page. Oh, it's site.pages using. Okay. So this would be site.pages using. What do you want? What's the template called again? Oh yeah, info box building. Okay, so info. I can't remember if you're supposed to write template there or not. I don't think so. I think you just write info box building. Okay, so this is another option for editing pages instead of the page modifier, or instead of the template modifier class. If you want to do edits to templates, it's much easier to use template modifier. But if there's like a complex operation you want to do, or if template modifier doesn't support what you want to do, then you can use this instead. So, and you could also iterate on the entire wiki if you wanted to do like site.client all pages namespace equals 0. So this will go on all pages in the main namespace. So if you don't have like a good list of what templates you want to use, you can go through all pages and it'll only save if it actually makes a modification. But I'm going to stick to pages using info box building right now. So let me, I want to keep my template modifier base open, and then I'm just going to like move this to the side, and I'm going to make this narrower, and I'm going to make this wider, and I'm going to make this wider. Okay, so and I really want these the other way. I prefer to write on the right side of the screen. That is just personal preference. So I just want to like kind of copy code because I don't remember how to do this offhand. Oh, I want to write page modifier. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So template modifier. All right. So we're gonna do two separate things here. So we're gonna say for a template in wikitext dot filter templates. Okay, so what does recursive equal true mean? Let me show you an example of recursive equals true. So I'm gonna fuck. One of the directions opens a private window and one of them opens like duplicates a tab, and I always get it wrong. I always get it wrong. Okay, so I'm gonna write a fake parameter here called my recursive param, and then I'm gonna write some sub template with parameter yay. Okay, so if I save this, so the question is, when it gets to info box building, what happens? Does it say that my recursive parameter has a value of the literal text some subtemplate parameter yay, or is it going to say, oh look, there's more wiki text as the value of this parameter. I better parse that and return another template to you. Okay, so if I have like 2 copies of this template, if I have like, right, so I have a few copies of the template. So if recursive is false, it's not going to know about this because it's just going to say that there's plain text as the value of my recursive param here inside of info box building. But if recursive is set to and then it will get these no matter what because these are top level templates. If recursive is set to true, then it'll find this first and then it'll find these later. So the question is, do you want to include it when it's a subtemplate like this, when it's the value of another parameter? So that's what recursive does. Almost like 99.999% of the time you want recursive to be true. But I give an option for recursive here where I defaulted to true because you almost always want it to be true, but just in case you wanted it to be false, I still want this framework to be usable, so I give you the option to specify that recursive be false. Okay, so in this case we're writing a single purpose thing. We're going to say that recursive is true. Okay, so and I'm semi-copying from over here, right? Because this is where the filter templates is implemented in template modifier. So we're gonna say if I'll do name template.name, and I'm going to say if name equals info box building, and then I'm gonna write self dot object info box building template, and then I'm gonna write another class, another method here. Let's import this name, and we want template, and then we're gonna like do stuff here, and then we can say like elif name equals not info box building. Then we can duplicate this, and we're gonna put not, and then we're gonna duplicate this, and we're gonna put not here, and then it's happy, and then we're gonna write like pass, so that we don't get a syntax error, and then we'll just like do an auto format real quick. Okay, so this is how you could update multiple templates. And I guess I said that I was going to like actually do something here. So let's actually do something here. I don't really want to like copy paste literally. Well, okay, fine. I'll copy paste everything. I think I'm pretty sure you can just literally copy paste this here. So I have this like, so I'm still putting updateParam on this page modifier class. And so here's how we update info box building. And then if it has not info box building, so I'm gonna, so just to make sure that like we're actually doing something here, on airflow tile 2, I'm gonna write param equals haha change me. Okay. And then here I'm gonna say if template, well, if not template that has param, whoops, then I'm gonna return, and then I'm gonna say template dot get param dot value equals you have been changed. Okay, so let's see if this works. No, it doesn't work. What am I? Oh. Yeah, so remember at the start I said that the documentation there gives you a wiki client. We actually want a wiki GG client, and we want this to be the GG wiki. And then I'm going to say wiki GG client. And then this is, yeah. Okay, cool. So let's run it again. Okay, so it skipped airflow tile. Why did it skip airflow tile? What does the current version of airflow tile look like? It should not have skipped this. Hold on. I might have to do a dot strip here. Let me run that again and see if it edits now. There we go. Okay, yeah, so put a dot strip here. Oh, you're supposed to use the matches method. Okay. Yeah, so hold on. So you would want to, this is what we would want to do. So mwparserfromhell has a built-in method called matches. So matches does a lot of stuff. Like it's extremely magical. Yeah, so it's gonna start by replacing the underscores with spaces, and then it's going to strip the output, and at somewhere I think it might get rid of comments too. I'm not sure if it gets rid of comments, but matches does like a lot of magical stuff. So this is like a super version of stripping the input and making sure that it's good. So so I'm gonna say if name.matches not info box building, and then it's fine if you have like extra white space or stuff, and it's fine if you like put underscores and this is what is it not happy about? Oh, because I put dot strip hat. Okay, so it should work now. Okay, cool. And it skipped everything because it was working before, but you really want to use dot matches. So now if I go here, so now I did the spot edit. So now it's doing the right thing for materials. Okay, so I'm gonna close all these tabs again, and then I'm gonna refresh this again. So let's look at all of, whoops, and let's look at airflow tile, and let's look at blank canvas. And it's just these, or, oh yeah, it's just these. Okay, so this airflow tile 2 only has info box building. It did the right thing for info box building. Airflow tile, I think I did the wrong thing here. Wait, where did I put my thing? Hold on. where did I put not info box building? Is that here? Did I not save that? Guys, what's happening? Where's not info box building? I'm thinking I like didn't save it. Okay. Maybe I edit conflicted myself. Okay, so I bet I edit conflicted myself. I'm gonna put not info box building param equals change me. Okay. Let's let's try this again. Oh, but okay. Hold on. I'm sorry. I want to revert again. So uh this one looks like it's correct because in this one I undid it. So let me just make sure this is, yeah, okay. So this one has the old stuff. So I'm just gonna open this one, and then the one that I undid to before is over here. And then I know that I'm going to have to re-add not info box building. So okay, so this is like the old version of this, and so I'm gonna want to. The script is gonna update info box building, and then it's gonna also update not info box building. And then I said param equals change me. So I'm gonna save this, and then let's go back here, and then let's run this again. By the way, the hotkey to run your current file is Shift F10. I'm 80% sure that Shift F10 is default. So let's just look at the source here. So it has now been changed here, and then we also have materials and amounts. Okay, so if we look at the diff, then it made changes to both templates. So this is what you want to do if you want to update two templates at the same time. You basically want to use a page modifier. It it does like it's a little bit less of like a hey this just works kind of situation than template modifier is, because you're on your own to filter through the templates on the page. But what you can do is go through all of the possible templates that you want, and then write a different function for each template. And after this part, so this is like very boilerplate, right? So this is very boilerplate for what you can write at the start of update wiki text. You can change these methods to whatever they are for the particular template that you're editing. You have like all the different matches, and you just do like an if, elif, 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 elif for all the different possibilities. And then you will likely write several functions here. So there's more code for sure because of this thing at the start, but it works very similarly to template modifier. It will do all of the changes to the wiki text, and it saves the stuff in the wiki text, and then you put whatever generator you want to do it on here when you instantiate the class, and then you call the run method on the instantiated class. So here I'm using site.pages using info box building. Pages using is part of mwcleric. It's not part of mwclient. It's something I wrote into mwcleric, and it does a bunch of stuff for you. Where I think it assumes that so you specify the namespace separately from the name of the page, because it assumes that you're going to be using a template. So let me commit this again. So I want to open the terminal, and I'm going to say whoa. Add page modifier example. Okay, and I will push this to GitHub later. It's not on GitHub right now, but it will be later. So, Gallo, does that answer your question for how to do multiple templates? Does it make sense? Do you have any other questions? Does anyone else have any other questions? Is this like more or less making sense? I feel like this is probably like the most I've done in a wiki class so far. Everything else, well, I don't know, maybe the sorcerer wiki was more, but this feels like a lot. I thought it was going to be like a very straightforward and simple thing, and then I was like, oh my god, I have to actually write a lot of code for this. So I hope it's okay. But if anyone else has any questions, I can do a couple more examples. And I think, Gallo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this code on GitHub, and then I will let you run it, because it should work at this point. So then you can like set up PyCharm and see how stuff works. So normally I spend like 30 minutes at the end of a video just like talking, and then that sucks for the recording. So if you're watching the recording, thanks for joining the class. I hope to see you in person sometime, or not in person, but like, live in Discord remotely. And if you have any questions and you're working on a WikiGG wiki, please join the WikiGG server, and you can ask for help in any of the channels that's appropriate to where you need help. So there's like a cargo channel, there's an automation channel. If you have questions about Python, you would ask in the automation channel. If you are not working on a WikiGG wiki, then I encourage you to apply to make a wiki on WikiGG. We would love to have you. So thanks for spending your time watching this video. I appreciate it. And let us know if you have any questions or comments, and we'll see you next time.